Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. Here are the headlines. Markets are off to a positive start to the week. The Nifty trades close to the 12,000 mark. All sectoral indices are trading with gains. Open interest surges on DCB Bank as traders take fresh short positions in the stock futures. Oil marketing companies are the top losers on the index after OPEC and its allies reaffirmed their decision to extend production cuts in the second half of this year. And Divan Housing Finance is rising in trade after it made part payments in interest due on June 4th.
Okay, those are the top headlines for you at this hour. Let's also tell you what's happening with the markets and in the futures and options market too. So it's been a positive start to this new week. In fact, this is precisely owing to positive global cues that we've been receiving, a positive close in Dow, and also the Asian markets this morning had a good start. So Nifty right now sitting with gains of about 84 points. The premium on Nifty futures is somewhere about 20 to 21 points. Let's just pull up the futures plate and tell you if there is any sort of OI buildup. Remember, on Friday, in fact, there was a mild bit of unwinding which took place, and this morning we are seeing open interest for Nifty futures going up by almost 2% in trade. The broader markets too are off to a positive start, but I guess there is mild bit of underperformance compared to the benchmarks, and there you go. Small cap index is off the opening levels. It's just about flattish. It did open with some bit of gains, and the mid cap index is also off the opening level, sitting with gains of about 0.4%. Pull up the market breadth. I think we started off with a market breadth of somewhere about 3:2, and right now it is still in favor of the advances, but let's see how that shapes up for the remainder of the day. Bank Nifty is the one which is in focus. Remember, for the last week, Bank Nifty was down almost 1% owing to the RBI circular which came out on Friday, which indicated the new framework for stressed assets. Bank Nifty is off to a positive start and no major build-up again. It's just 2.5% higher when it comes to the OI build-up. The Nifty PSU banking index will too be in focus in light of that circular. PSU banking index, last when I checked, was witnessing some bit of gains. Okay, so right now it's almost at the lows. It's given up the gains, and this has been the template actually. Whenever you see the PSU banking stocks going up, the rally fizzles out just in a day or two. What sort of positions one should take and what are the levels to watch out for? The options data is indicating the maximum open interest is at the 12,000 call and the 11,800 put. So it's giving you a range of only about 200 points. But for the day, there is a lot of unwinding which is coming on all the put strikes, in fact, starting from 11,800 till the 12,000. The 12,000 call strike, which is sitting with maximum open interest, has seen unwinding of nearly 2 lakh shares, whereas put writing has been seen around the mark of 12,000, and even the 11,900 strike. I think the maximum open interest could be shifting from 800 to 900 now, which has added the maximum so far of about 9 lakh shares again.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch how these levels shift, but let's talk about stocks which are seeing an increase in open interest, as well as some stocks which may actually see a decline in OI, starting off with DCB Bank, where we're seeing, a little bit of, selling, if I can say that, considering a 14% jump in its open interest, even as this underlying declines by 1.5%. But that is not the case for Bata India, because that one is advancing and with a lot of strength. Just Dial is the other one, which is also up and about, marginally, though less than 1%, but, long is all the same. And NIT Technologies, along with Manappuram Finance, all finding buyers today. Repco Home Finance, on the other hand, along with Godfrey Phillips and Amara Raja Batteries, looking at some declines, but not too much to speak for overall. We'll be watching out for the likes of Bata today as we move into trade today.
Okay, so a lot of stocks moving around, but specifically few stocks that we would like to take views from our experts on the show. Agam highlighted DCB Bank. Open interest gains have been seen there, but remember the stock's down on a year-to-date basis. This is an outperformer, so we'll check with our experts whether people who have been holding on to long, should they continue or not. The steel stocks have been in focus, though they're off the opening levels, but still stocks like Tata Steel, JSW Steel, and even Steel Authority have seen some meager gains coming in the opening trade. And Divan Housing, which stumbled last week throughout. Remember, it's in the F&O ban, but this morning there has been some bit of recovery that has come in for Divan Housing at one point of time. It was also one of the top F&O gainers again.
Okay, let's move on and get in our experts for the day. But before that, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding futures and options markets, you can call us on 022454044141 or of course write to us on Twitter, Facebook with the AskBQ hashtag. Don't forget, we're also on YouTube. Let's welcome in our experts for the day. Then we have Navneet Daga of Securities and Abhijit Phatak of Definedge Solutions joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you and thanks for taking the time out. Abhijit, I'll start with you. Your view on the markets now, we're once again trying to close into the mark of 12,000. How are you playing the indices now, the benchmarks that is?
Yeah, like you said, Nifty is range bound in this band of about 200 points. So it needs a clear close above 11,970, 980 on the futures for a breakout. Till then, it can be sideways and it might be worth considering stocks which are at resistance to go short in them and wait for a dip in Nifty to go long in Nifty because the stop loss is a bit wide below 11,840 on the futures.
Okay, buy on dips is the strategy in Nifty which is being recommended by Abhijit. Navneet, good morning to you. Would you also buy considering the positive start that we've seen for this fresh week?
Well, hi, good morning. We are trading at in the midst of a trading band which has been very clearly defined at 11,800 on the lower side and 12,000 on the higher side. It would be preempting the trading band to expand on the either side would be a difficult call to make. But to my understanding, given the kind of VIX levels that we are below that 15-odd mark in the India VIX levels. Overall, we are seeing a major build-up happening on both the sides. So it's looking likely that traders are betting for a consolidation, and that's what our call is would be. For the next few days, we don't have any major events lined up. It's looking likely that the range bound to consolidation move will continue with an upward resistance somewhere in the range of 12,000 to 12,040 odd levels. And similarly, on the downside, we have seen a lot of protection, buying interest coming back in the market somewhere in the levels of 11,800. So play for a consolidation for the couple of days from here on.
Okay, and based on that play for consolidation, well, Navneet does have a short strangle. For those who don't know what a short strangle it is when one sells an out-of-the-money call and an out-of-the-money put in anticipation of decreased volatility, which in this case has already come off quite substantially, and the strategy becomes profitable when you do see a contraction in option premiums. Navneet, if you could take us through your strategies, and my additional question would be that, well, you know, many may suggest that the VIX is already considerably low at these levels. You're not too concerned about that. You're playing for time decay, is it?
Right, exactly. The strategy would be largely be more profitable for the time decay rather than being a mega decay. So, to my understanding, given the kind of consolidation overall trend, overall setup that we are in, and the kind of buoyancy that we have seen in the global markets, the global VIX has also cooled off significantly from the highs that it's seen in the last week or so. It's looking likely that currently, given no major events, we would be stuck in the trading band whereby the upward resistance on the high side and somewhere in the range of 31,500 on the Bank Nifty. And similarly, we are seeing a lot of buying interest coming back to the market. Again, if we are flirting towards that 30,800 to 30,600 zone. Playing in a short strangle would be a good strategy by selling the wings, by selling in 31,500 calls for the weekly options, and simultaneously selling in 30,000 put option, 30,800 put option on the lower side. We're getting an inflow of around 185 to 190 points in the current market price, and looking at the setup, one can keep a strict stop loss if the spreads widen towards 260 odd mark. That's where the higher likely chances of breakout on the either side would be, and one can play for a spread to narrow down towards the levels of 80 to 20 points as in premium decay. So we got three trading sessions more left before this weekly expiry. So looking likely that consolidation, if we happen to consolidate a day or more, the time decay would be much more faster in this strategy.
Okay, there are some sectoral gainers coming by and in a good way. Nifty, FMCG and IT have seen strong gains just in the first 45 minutes of trade today. IT is up 1.6 and all your biggies, Infy, TCS, Teh Mahindra are sitting with gains, and FMCG, the consumption part is doing pretty well. Let's see if any of the stocks from these sectors feature in our technical experts' strategies for the day in terms of stock futures. Abhijit, let me come to you first. Which are the stock futures that you're betting on this morning?
Yeah, since I said it is a bit range bound, it is better to short as well as long. So I have one short call and one long call. TCS is at resistance near 2230, 2240. So in fact, right now it hit the resistance at 2235 future. So one can go short here with a stop loss above 2245.50, another 15 points higher. And I expect it to come back towards 2220, 2200, or maybe even 2180 in the next few days. Another stock which is range bound for the last many weeks, Tata Steel, is near the support of 480. So any dip can be bought into with a stop loss below 480, and it can go back towards 510, 520.
Okay, and Navneet, what about you? Stocks that are in your radar today?
My idea is basically to find out the stocks which are being weak in an overall trend in an uptrending market and being strong in the overall trend downtrending market. So there are a couple of sectors which are giving you signs that the somewhat overheating has happened and there's some kind of a consolidation or distribution is visible. OMC pack, if you look out, even in the last couple of days, we have seen a good gains on the higher side, but the stocks have been seen as some kind of a distribution on the upside and not able to sustain at the higher levels. To my understanding, there's a chances that the weakness might continue, and I'm looking to short BPCL with a target of 370 on the lower side and stop loss of 410. One can initiate the strategy in the range of somewhere near to 396 to 397 levels. Secondly, mid-cap IT is giving some signs of a recovery, and there's a signs that the stocks like of Teh Mahindra might outperform in the current setup. And one can look, that has already seen some kind of formidable bottom has been formed on the lower side. So one can look to initiate a long position with a stop loss of 740 on Tech M, and looking for an upside target of somewhere near to 820 on the June futures.
Okay, those are some stock futures ideas coming your way this morning from our technical experts, but few stocks that we also want to take views on. One of them is DCB. This has been an outperformer, on year-to-date basis. The stock is up almost 40%, and this morning it's one of the top open interest gainers, where open interest has surged nearly 15%. Some bit of cool off, indicating there could be some profit booking which could be coming in at higher levels for DCB Bank. Abhijit, last 3 months, it's up almost 21% on YTD basis. It has been an outperformer. Of course, considering the outperformance, it has been trading above all its key moving averages. The profit booking or the correction that one has seen in today's trade, if somebody is holding on to long positions in DCB Bank, what would your advice be?
Yes, DCB has been an outperformer over the last many weeks, and it has a very strong support below 230 futures. But I would look for a close above 240 on the futures, and after that it can go towards 265, 270. But the trigger is it has a resistance near 240. So if someone is holding it, maybe he can hedge it or book right now and buy again above 240.
Well, we've had Abhijit talk about Tata Steel specifically, so let's address the steel stocks too, because they have been up and about, and we are seeing some strength come through for all these counters. So Tata Steel is up 2%. We've seen gains in something like JSW Steel, though not as much, and actually it's not seeing as much traction in the F&O space either. And SAIL, it seems that it has lost out on that off day's high. On the whole, however, Tata Steel perhaps is the one which does seem to see some strength as of this point in time. And of course, Abhijit's strategy is to buy Tata Steel on dips. But Navneet, if I can take this up with you too, how are you viewing Tata Steel, if perhaps anything else also stands out for you in the steel sector?
Well, if you look out, there's a setup which is suggesting that somewhat the bottom formation started to happen in the most of the metal counters, whether it's been Vedanta, whether it's been in particular in the steel, the Tata Steel, as well as somewhere in the range of JSW Steel. To my understanding, Tata Steel has got a better setup. It has seen a kind of a bottom formation somewhere in the range of 480 odd levels. If that level has not been taken out on the lower side on the closing basis, to my understanding, the chances that we might see an again spurt towards the 510, but it's look likely that it would be a kind of a sideways to mild positive bias. Overall, it doesn't look like the major directional trade is started to happen on this in this setup. So to my understanding, buying near the rather than by jumping into the current market price, one buy near the support levels would be a good trade, because the supports are very nearly played somewhere in the range of 480 odd levels. So one can look into it as an entry point towards, if you see any flirt of profit booking in that stock, one can look as an entry point with a stop loss of 480 on the downside.
Okay, that's a view on Tata Steel. Some of the other stocks like Steel Authority, which was up in the morning session, has also given up some gains. And JSW Steel too was witnessing some gains in the opening trade, and that too is off those highs that we've seen of about 268. Very quickly, before we move into the individual queries that we've received from our viewers, I just want to address Divan Housing, which is one of the top F&O gainers right now. Remember, the stock had fallen sharply last week, somewhere about 27 to 28%. It is in the F&O band, so you're seeing some bit of unwinding when it comes to the futures side. Open interest is down, though just marginally off about 1%. Abhijit, the lows of last week on Friday, it was about 80. It's rebounded from those levels of 80, currently somewhere about 87, 87 and a half. If somebody is holding on to short positions in Divan Housing, what would your advice be? To book profits now, or one should stay put?
It depends on where the short was initiated, but you're right, it has not broken in last week's low, and it has resistance near 95, 99. So if the stop loss, a wide stop loss of 100 can be, that is okay, the stop loss should be 100. Otherwise, they should book right now and then short again on rise, because as long as it is below 110, this stock is weak.
Okay, well, let's move in and start taking some queries here. And the first one is on YouTube. We have one query from Vikram Gundas. He says that he has 5 lots of the Nifty 12,000 call. He's paid a premium of 39, and he wants to know what he can do with this position. So, pardon me. Abhijit, I'll come back to you on this one. The chance of the Nifty going about 12,000, and what would you do with this, considering he's already bought the 12,000 call at 39 and this premium is currently at 34?
He's talking about 13 June expiry, if I understand correctly.
Yes, I'm assuming that, so yes.
Yeah, because right now it is at 22, and I think it is below his cost price. But as long as it is above 15, he can hold on to it. In a sense, he can use 15 as a stop loss. And if it crosses today's high, then it can go much higher. But then he should be cautious at higher levels and use the stop loss of 15 on a intraday basis also.
Okay, let's move on to our next query. This one comes in from Tamil Selvam, who writes to us on YouTube. He's bought 525 quantity of 13th June 12,000 call after paying a premium of about 35.5 rupees. Let's just pull up that strike and see what the current premium is. And simultaneously, he's also sold 150 quantity of Nifty futures at 11,980. And he's currently sitting with some amount of profit is what he's indicating. He wants to know if he can book profit now, or should he wait out for the rest of the day. Navneet, let me come to you. What would your advice be? He's making a little bit of profit. He's bought 525 quantity of 12,000 call at 35 and simultaneously sold 150 quantity of Nifty futures at 11,980.
Okay, to my understanding, it looks likely that this trade has been initiated today only. Looking likely current setup, I'll suggest that you can wait for an sub in the afternoon. If the Nifty happens to be trading below 11,950, or the chances that we are seeing the broader markets are giving up some kind of a gains, we might see a profit booking started to happen in Nifty as well. So one can wait for the trend setup somewhere in the range of 2 o'clock around. If the trend suggests that 11,950 odd levels has been held up, we're seeing already unwinding started to happen across the board on the call side. The chances that we might see more of a short covering happening, whereby the calls positions would be in the profitable. So one can wait for a trend of around 2 o'clock and keep a position mindset of somewhere in the 950 odd levels. If it happens to break below that level, one should exit this trade as well.
Okay. We have a question from Bittu Sharma on Facebook. He actually has 2 stocks from the IT sector. I'm going to take each one of them with each of us, our experts. The first one is Teh Mahindra, and it's currently at 16. He wants to know whether or not to go long or short on these stocks. So Teh Mahindra, let me take up with Abhijit. It's currently at 767, Abhijit. We've seen a little bit of volatility, but not too much. What would you do with Teh Mahindra? What would your advice be to Bittu?
Okay, there is some audio issue with Abhijit. Why don't we take this query to Navneet? Navneet, your thoughts on Teh Mahindra? Any position that you would advise taking right now?
Well, look, in fact, I had spoken about Teh Mahindra in the first half itself. To my understanding, it has already formed a kind of a bottom. To my understanding, 740 should be a trading stop loss if that level has been maintained. To my understanding, it is looking likely that it's going towards that 820 odd mark for the current series itself. Overall positioning seems to be strong. The RSI crossover has happened, and the chances that the upward momentum might continue with the overall sector trend. So one can ride on this position, and if somebody is looking to buy into, one can still add into this position now with the 740 on the downside as a stop loss level.
The same viewer had also has a query on Tata LXC. How are the charts of that one looking? Is there any position that can be taken here?
Okay, just a second.
The stock's not doing too much. Go ahead.
This is in a very sideways stock. This seems to be a very sideways stock, and doesn't seem like there's any major traction, whether it's been upside or downside on the trading side. So to my understanding, if somebody is not a compulsive trader, one can avoid this kind of a trade. The only action would be visible is started to sustain about somewhere in the range of 880 odd if I look at it in the chart carefully. So one can wait for a breakout or breakdown trade happening and then take a positional trade on this. But overall, currently setup doesn't suggest that major trading action is visible.
Okay, maybe a final query perhaps we can take from Ardindu Ganguly. It's a little bit of a repeat from all the queries that we have taken, but Navneet, I'll take this one up with you since we haven't asked you this question specifically. Ardindu wants to know if he can take a position, and I'm assuming if he can buy the Nifty June 12,000 call. He hasn't mentioned which expiry either, but if you can just tell us, give us your view of the Nifty and the possibility of going in the money in this particular series.
Look, the overall trend setup suggests to be it's quite positive, and it's looking likely that this consolidation breakout likely to happen on the upside, the current setup that we are in. But plain vanilla buying a call option when we are in a consolidation will lead to the time decay as well as vega decay. To my understanding, it would not be a very prudent strategy. One should use a bull call spreads rather than direct naked buy of a calls. One can buy a 12,000 call and simultaneously sell 12,200 calls. That will reduce the outflow that we are having, and one can still stay put in the strategy until we are not breaking below 11,800 levels. So to my understanding, that would be a prudent strategy rather than by naked call buying.
That's the call coming in on 12,000 call strike for the monthly expiry. Just want to shift focus to a couple of stocks which have just gone up. Pull up stocks like Manappuram Finance and Muthoot Financial. Both of them are currently sitting with gains of between 4 to 3%. So long positions definitely seen for Manappuram Finance. Remember, some news reports last week indicated some negative news because of which the stock had corrected, and the company on Friday clarified they did receive a show cause notice and they're working on that. Muthoot is also up and about. So very quickly, Navneet, if given a choice on these gold financing companies, which one would you pick on the long side, Muthoot or Manappuram?
I will stay with Muthoot Finance. To my understanding, Manappuram has been quite volatile because of the news flow that we are seeing. Manappuram, to my understanding, somewhere in the range of 620 odd. It's becoming a good kind of an entry zone. It has seen reversal from that in the last couple of days. In fact, not chase until the 650 odd level has been taken out. So to my understanding, it would be either buying or dips towards that 620 odd.
Please pardon us, just give us a few moments. We have to go across to the State Bank of India presser which is going on, which is addressing the RBI's new circular. Here you go.
Just to understand the technicality, will it work in similar manner for them also, or the guidelines will apply from now, the date which is run now?
So any cases which were referred to NCLT under the provisions of 12th February circular, because the guidelines were found ultra vires by the Supreme Court of India. So for all such cases, the reference date will now be 7th June. And the cases where lenders have taken decision to refer to NCLT, not as per the 12th February circular guideline, but otherwise also lenders have decided to take many cases to NCLT. Position in respect of those cases will remain unchanged.
So overall, what is your sense? I mean, does it bring much relief, or life goes on as usual?
No, it is a very good piece of regulation in my view. It does not dilute the discipline, which was the fear or the apprehension, but at the same time certain practical difficulties which lenders were facing and representations were made to Reserve Bank of India by Indian Banks Association. Many of those suggestions have been considered in the revised framework.
तो जो पहले के जो केसेस है वो उनकी यथास्थिति बनी रहेगी जो पहले का
अगर जैसा मैंने कहा, अगर 12 फरवरी के सर्कुलर की गाइडलाइंस के हिसाब से आपने अगर केस रेफर किया था तो वो तो सेट असाइड हो गया था, उसको फ्रेश लुक 7 जून के सर्कुलर के हिसाब से करना होगा। लेकिन बहुत से केसेस तो ऐसे हैं जो वैसे ही लेंडर्स ने एनसीएलटी में रेफर करा था वो केसेस, उन केसेस पे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा।
So lenders can pass a resolution plan with 75% vote by value, but on the other hand, after the resolution plan is passed, it has to be signed by all creditors under the treasury agreement. So isn't it contradictory, and how does
कोई कंट्राडिक्शन नहीं है। Once you sign the ICA, then you are bound by that, and it provides for exit for the dissenting lenders, where the guidelines say that 25%, the liquidation value, that is what the dissenting lenders will get. That is the position even in IBC. What does the IBC say also? That any dissenting lenders, they get the liquidation value. So it is no different. But before even the ICA is signed, effort will have to be that the consensus is built, and the interest of the majority lender and the small lenders both have to be protected. There cannot be a guideline or a circular which does not protect the interest of the lenders who have a small stake or minority stake. But at the same time, after signing of the ICA, then it becomes mandatory and the exit route has to be
So just to
followed.
understand this penal provision bit, the RBI is saying that you have to make accelerated provisioning, and that is probably going to push bankers to use to resolve the case sooner. But for vast majority of consumer banks currently hold about 70% of their provision coverage ratio, and the RBI has put 100% as the overall limit for this accelerated provisioning. Now, essentially, there is no reason to fit into that timeline, because your penalty or penal provisions that you will face is not that much that you would have made anyway over the course of the year.
No, it has to be understood differently. If there are very legacy cases where suppose they are D3, then already you will be holding 100% provision, so it doesn't get impacted. But apart from those legacy cases, if suppose a case is there which is showing now sign of stress, then as per the regulatory guidelines, if it is a substandard asset, you provide 15%. And in 6 months, if you don't, then you provide another 20%. And if 1 year you don't, then another 15%. So mandatorily after 1 year, it will become D1, which is 40%, and plus 35.
Yeah.
So in 1 year, if you don't resolve an asset, you will be providing 75%. So there is an accelerated provisioning, and which is, in my view, there is nothing wrong in it, because more or less it will get aligned with the the LGD, historical LGD is, and it encourages early decision making and early resolution. So the spirit of the circular is either you dissolve or go to the legal process, but don't sit on the stressed assets or NP.
So isn't consensus building to get all the lenders on board, especially some of the smaller banks, isn't that the bigger problem? And the circular does not address it because it does not enforce ICA before.
It can't. It can't.
Are you going to make some representation to the RBI?
No.
How do you think this can be resolved?
We're not going to make any representation. We will give it a chance. What you have to understand also is that when somebody buys a stressed asset, they also look that 100% consensus should be there. No buyer takes a chance that 75% agree, and then they will acquire the asset and leave the issue open. So that is where, after signing of the ICA, it is in a way 100% settlement. Either you be a ascending lender or you be a dissenting lender. If you are a dissenting lender, you will be paid liquidation value. So if you look at from the buyer's perspective, no buyer, I have seen it in the past, will take a chance with any of the lender who has not been settled. So after signing the ICA, the rules for settlement and payment are set. which are more or less aligned with IBC. And before ICA in this specified period, lenders have to take a view that how to proceed. But decide, if somebody is not signing the ICA, then they are free to pursue whatever remedy they want.
And what happens
Then nothing happens. Then suppose like one lender decides that I am taking it to NCLT, then you be part of the NCLT. That is like whatever was in 12th February. There is no change in that.
So will it help some of the existing cases you think expedite matters?
No, we have to go again with the 7th June. That is my understanding. We have not legally checked because 12th February circular was held ultra vires. So anything which we have done in any case under 12th February circular, that was set aside, and the meter again starts from 7th June. That is my understanding of the
All the
situation.
plans the resolution was passed, they stay.
If the resolution plan has been passed and it is this thing, so there is no need to change that.
So the revised circular provides a 30-day grace period now, review period. So will that be enough given the kind of delay that we've seen in kind of resolution?
What we have to understand also is stressed asset. It is something like in ICU. If you keep on dithering and don't decide, who is being damaged? Not only the corporate debtor, but the lenders themselves. And I think the speed of the decision making, what this circular or the guidelines encourage, everyone, all lenders should take it in the right spirit. And my experience is that if any stressed asset, if you decide early, then you can recover better. The more you delay, the more money you lose.
So talking specific to your bank, after this circular, if you talk about this quarter and this financial year in particular, how much of this positive or negative impact will have it on your collection?
Not much, because already you would have seen that in March, the provision coverage ratio on the corporate book is 70%. And there are some good recoveries inside. So that way, like SBI, I don't think there will be any major impact as far as this circular goes.
Looking at other side, if suppose you are referring cases to NCLT, there is a reward for that. So are you looking benefit from that?
It will differ case to case basis. There cannot be a general rule.
But the
And
benefit is only when there's a delay.
so no, but what we are seeing also, like there are timelines for NCLT process, but in none of the cases the timelines have been followed. So there is a time value of money. And when we are deciding on any case, we have to keep in mind that what could be the possible outcome and the time taken to resolve under NCLT and what are the recovery prospects or the chances of resolution of a stressed asset quickly. And if we believe that in NCLT the process may be delayed, then the lender has options to pursue other legal options. And this window, I think we should use it for resolution within the given time frame effectively. And wherever we hit the roadblock or it is not getting resolved, then take it to NCLT. There should not be any hesitation for taking the case to NCLT.
What happens to specific cases like Jet Airways today that operational creditors have taken them?
It is there. It is there.
Is still the best option?
No, that I am not making that statement that NCLT is the best option. If it was the best option, you would have not these guidelines. Straight away, there was a need for trying resolution outside NCLT. You can't clog the system also. That is also has to be understood. So there is no best or worst. As I said, that each case is different. A manufacturing unit is different than a service industry where there are no assets. And the views can be different. And the legal right of anyone, operational creditor or financial creditor, secured, unsecured, that cannot be taken away. That is what we have to understand very clearly.
सर 7 जून को ही आपने एक बड़ा फैसला लिया स्टेट बैंक ने, जिसकी देश भर में चर्चा हो रही है रेपो रेट के साथ होम लोन को जोड़ने का, तो इससे कौन से ग्राहकों को फायदा होगा और कितनी अवधि के लिए होगा, ये आपसे जब समझना चाहिए।
नहीं, एक मैं समझता हूँ कि काफ़ी सोच समझ के बाद ये फैसला लिया गया है और रेपो रेट से हमने लिंक कर दिया है। इसमें ब्याज तो हर महीने देना होगा और प्रिंसिपल रिपेमेंट 3% एवरी ईयर रिक्वायरमेंट रखा गया। बहुत छोटे लोन्स को इसमें एनकरेज करना ठीक नहीं है क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट रेट हमको समझना होगा कि अगर नीचे जा सकते हैं तो बहुत ऊपर भी जा सकते हैं, उस पर किसी का कंट्रोल नहीं होता। तो इसलिए मिनिमम इनकम का क्राइटेरिया जो है एनुअल इनकम 6 लाख रुपए रखा गया है। तो और अगर उससे छोटा अगर इनकम ग्रुप है तो उसको मैं नहीं समझता कि ये उचित होगा कि उनको जो है इंटरेस्ट रेट के जो मूवमेंट्स हैं उसके ऊपर छोड़ दिया जाए। और ये वर्ल्ड वाइड मॉर्गेज मार्केट का मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है कि जो वेरिएबल रेट मॉर्गेजेस होती हैं वो बहुत कम दी जाती हैं, सेलेक्टिवली दी जाती हैं, और फिक्स्ड रेट मॉर्गेजेस जो है वही ज़्यादा पॉपुलर होती हैं और उन्हीं को एनकरेज करा जाता है। कुछ अच्छी बातें भी कर लो हाउसिंग लोन का या Yeah.
You know, it's been 2 years almost, hardly any resolutions have been found. Will those cases also now be tried under this, or you know, if you could give
अगर उनको, जैसा दोबारा मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अगर एनसीएलटी में लेने का निर्णय हो चुका है और जो कि 12 फरवरी के सर्कुलर के बाहर था, तो उसमें तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई परिवर्तन होगा। लेकिन जो केसेस 12 फरवरी के सर्कुलर के हिसाब से एनसीएलटी में रेफ़र करे गए हैं उनका रिव्यू अब 7 जून के सर्कुलर के हिसाब से हम लोग करेंगे। अभी मैंने देखा नहीं है, पर कुछ ज़्यादा केसेस नहीं है इस तरह के।
also what happens to ARCs? You know, they bought a lot of loans from the bankers and are part of these consortiums. These guidelines don't take them into review. So how would that again work?
That is an issue where, like, of course, in circular, no specific mention of ARC is there. But their remedy is also the same. They can be part of the resolution still. Agree with the resolution, or if they want that, they want to pursue it outside this resolution framework, that is again their choice.
Sir, the guidelines also say that from the 1st of January 2020, the pool will increase to 1,500 crore and above. So, just trying to understand, you know, how big do you think the stress asset pool will become?
कोई बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा
It won't be that big an impact.
1500 करोड़ 2000 करोड़ में ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है, और 1500 करोड़ से नीचे कम केसेस होते हैं जो कि कंसोर्शियम बैंकिंग में या इसमें हो।
सर, अगला ट्रिगर अब बजट में है, तो बजट को लेकर क्या उम्मीदें रहेगी, क्या मांग आप चाहेंगे कि बजट के अंदर कुछ ऐसा ऐलान हो जिसमें बैंकिंग सेक्टर को राहत?
बैंकिंग सेक्टर की स्पेसिफिक राहत की तो मैं बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन जो इकनॉमी में प्राइवेट सेक्टर का इन्वेस्टमेंट को रिवाइव करने के लिए और कृषि क्षेत्र में जो ज़्यादा और थ्रस्ट, ये 2 थीम मुझे लगता है कि इसमें होंगी। और अगर जॉब्स क्रिएट करने के लिए जो सेक्टर्स हैं, जैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर है, टूरिज्म सेक्टर है, ये कुछ ऐसे सेक्टर्स हैं जिसमें कि जॉब पोटेंशियल बहुत ज़्यादा होती है। तो इस तरह के सेक्टर्स को एनकरेज करने के लिए अगर कुछ आता है बजट में तो वो अच्छा होगा। So that is all right. Like अगर कैपिटल का जो भी है, जिस बैंक को ज़रूरत है वो अपनी डिमांड रखेगा, स्टेट बैंक को तो ज़रूरत है नहीं। और जैसा मैंने कहा कि जो एम्फेसिस मुझे लगता है बजट में होगा, फिस्कल डेफिसिट को कंट्रोल में रखते हुए भी, लेकिन अगर ऐसे मेजर्स जो कि उन सेक्टर्स पे फोकस कर सकें जिनमें कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट करने की पोटेंशियल ज़्यादा है, तो उम्मीद की जा सकती है कि ऐसे सेक्टर्स पर ज़्यादा ध्यान रहे।
How do you see the space evolving? You're one of the largest lenders in that consortium as well. Will you be looking at buying out some of the portfolios to provide them liquidity, or what sort of steps would banks?
Will work out. Whatever the solution will work.
Sir, ICA was already in place, but it was not working well. Now, how do you see working it now since it has been mandated, or what will be the changes now?
नहीं, आपने खुद ही बोला कि अब मैंडेटरी हो गया है, उसको रेगुलेटरी बैकिंग है, और जो आईसीए में कुछ अमेंडमेंट करना होगा, तो एक तरह से मास्टर एग्रीमेंट वो फिर भी रहेगा, और आईबीए का प्रयास रहेगा कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बैंक्स एटलीस्ट जो आईबीए के मेंबर हैं वो मास्टर एग्रीमेंट साइन कर दें, जिससे कि कुछ इस तरह की मॉडलिटीज़ वर्कआउट कर लिया जाएगा कि लाइक एक मास्टर एग्रीमेंट भी रहेगा, और उसके बाद केस टू केस अगर कुछ उसमें कोई सप्लीमेंट्री एग्रीमेंट साइन करना है। बट ये सब लॉयर्स के साथ बैठ के जो आईबीए की लीगल टीम है कि प्रोसेस को किस तरह से स्मूथ किया जाए और डिसीजन मेकिंग जो है वो उसको फास्टर डिसीजन मेकिंग किया जाए। तो ये IBA की मैनेजमेंट कमेटी में हम लोग इसको कंसिडर करें।
NBFCs are also mentioned specifically in this circular. Do you think it will have some impact?
ये NBFCs का जो मॉडल है, कुछ NBFCs हैं जो कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फाइनेंस में है या कॉर्पोरेट फाइनेंस में है, तो उनको तो इस फोरम पे लाना होगा। बट अदरवाइज बहुत सी NBFCs हैं जो केवल SME फाइनेंस करती हैं या आपका रिटेल में है, उनको तो कोई इसमें फ़र्क पड़ता नहीं।
Overall, if you see that, again I'll ask this question again because provisioning पे, have you already made enough provisioning that you will get something back, or you expect after this circular the provisioning will increase?
नहीं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि प्रोविजनिंग जो है ज़्यादा इंक्रीज़ होगा, क्योंकि 6 महीने का अब इंसेंटिव है ना कि आप डिसीजन ले लो। अगर 6 महीने में भी डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते हो तो फिर कब लो? तो इसलिए उसका ये मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई एक्सीलरेटेड प्रोविजनिंग की इसमें ज़रूरत पड़ेगी। और मैंने फिर कह रहा हूँ मैं कि स्टेट बैंक में हमारा प्रोविज़न कवर जो है जितना ज़रूरत है उससे ज़्यादा हमारे पास है, तो हमें वैसे भी कोई चिंता नहीं है। थैंक यू। ओके।